Okay, there I am. It's probably not going to be a real long show tonight because I found out a couple hours ago that an old and dear friend of mine died this afternoon. But there's still a few things I wanted to go over with you quickly. As soon as I get myself calmed down enough to speak fairly coherently. Anyway, Grampy Lobster, some of you know him, some of you don't, but anyway, he died in his sleep this afternoon. Wasn't entirely unexpected, but it still always comes as a surprise. But anyway, like I said, there's a few things I wanted to show you, but I'll probably end up cutting it fairly short this evening. I finally got that video on aluminum, cleaning it up and restoring it and finished. I'm going to post that tomorrow. I have to add on a little correction at the end of it, and you'll see what that's all about. My channel members will get to see it 2 days early. I'm going to post it tomorrow, and I'll premiere it on Friday, and everybody else can see it then. I'll give you a little bit of preview of what will be involved. This is a lid that I restored. This is what it started out as. It's kind of the shininess around it makes it kind of hard to see just how dull that is. But that's what it looks like after the first pass cleaning it up. That there is after the second pass. And that really shiny bit on the end is after the third pass and polishing it. So that's what aluminum can end up looking like. And if I would have done a little bit more work on it, I could have got a really deeper mirror shine to that than what I got. But anyway, like I said, I'll post that tomorrow. And for posted early for my viewers, and then I get it premiered on Friday. I did find one thing this week. I'll show you that first. My hibiscus bush that you can see the silhouette of it in the background. My hibiscus bush is blooming along quite nicely. It usually flowers this time of year from now on into January. It'll bloom fairly heavy and then settle down. They don't have any scent to them, but they're such pretty flowers. I did find, seeing as I'm working on aluminum lately, I found this. This is a Wagner ware. It's called the Puritan pattern. It's a lot more angular than the ones I showed you before. Those were colonial pattern, but this has more of an angular Art Deco look to it. I really like it. And eventually I'll get this cleaned up and get this polished. It's not too bad a shape. Paid $12 for it. So that's pretty nice. And you can see on this one, if you remember those aluminum, that Griswold and Wagner aluminum tea kettles I showed you before, this little handle's broke off on the Wagner. And that's what it should look like. But that flips the lid up and you fill it. A little rusty and crusty and built up on the inside, but it's nothing too bad. Well, I'll get this cleaned up, and when I get her all shined up and polished, I'll show it to you. Get a look at it now. It's not really bad. It's a little bit dark on the lid, but it's pretty decent shape, not really gouged up. But once I get that polished, that'll really be something to look at. Something else I had Been flipping through my old Majestic Range catalog and cookbook, looking at some of the recipes, and I'd noticed this before, but it never quite registered with me. A lot of these recipes use cinnamon extract. I don't have any cinnamon extract. I got some on the way. None of the local stores have it, so I ordered some. But it's really easy to make yourself. And I'm going to show you how to make homemade cinnamon extract. It's similar to making vanilla extract. But the thing is, with the there's one major difference. Set that aside. For every 250 milliliters of vodka, just use whatever vodka, you can use Phillips vodka. Phillips, it's slightly better than Kharkov. But you can use Phillips vodka for this, just any inexpensive vodka. And cinnamon sticks. For every 250 milliliters of vodka, you should use about 4 cinnamon sticks. Now these are fairly old, so I'm going to use an extra one. And this 12-ounce Grolsch beer bottle I have is about 375 milliliters. So that should take about 5. I'm going to use 6. And since these are kind of old, I'm also going to break them. You don't need to normally break them, but this will help to release the oils a little better. I'm just going to break them in half and drop them in. Oh, maybe we'll break that one in 3. You don't need to crush them up really fine. A little bit there, a little stray bit there, and I need one more. I'll use this little guy here. Now, I got them broke up in the bottom of my bottle. I like these Grolsch bottles for making extracts because they're green and it'll help protect your extract from the light. But what you do then, take a funnel, and your cheap vodka, and fill up the Grolsch bottle. This has got a screen in it, so it's got to work its way through there. See, if I just pop that screen right out of there because I don't need to screen anything out of the vodka. It's not that cheap. And there you have it. Now, the difference between making cinnamon extract and making vanilla extract is, with vanilla, you just leave the beans in there pretty much forever. When you start getting low on extract, you top it off with a little more. I use bourbon, but a lot of people use vodka or 150 rum, or Everclear. You can just top the bottle off, leave the beans right in there. With cinnamon, if you leave them in there too long, eventually it'll turn bitter. It'll start extracting things that you don't really want to extract. In this case, you just give it a shake it up maybe once or twice a week, and let that sit until about Christmas, usually 8 to 10 weeks. And after 8 to 10 weeks, it should have a very strong cinnamon smell. I should pick up some reddish brownish color from the cinnamon sticks. And after 8-10 weeks, strain off your extract into a clean bottle, and then you're done. But anyway, this should be pretty nice by the time it's done. Like I said, it'll be around Christmas time, early December, by the time this is done, and you can see what it looks like then. Let me get rid of my funnel, set this guy down here, throw this away. Got got vodka on the arm of my chair. Set this aside, and I should have right here some of my vanilla extract. You can see what a nice dark color that has. This has been sitting for, I use this all the time. This is probably, 2 years, a year and a half at least anyway. And I have another bottle of this up in the cupboard. And I just kind of rotate them. When this one gets down to about there, I'll add some more liquor to it, use the other bottle, and let this one sit. But most flavoring extracts are pretty easy to make at home. So if you can, go ahead and do that. But anyway, let me set this stuff down. And I'll say hi to who all is in here. Sanuto, I saw you before. Northeast Vermonter, good to see you. Natchez River Catfishing. Purring Lady, Raymond. Billy Lee, good to see you. Cynthia Wesley. Six Drops, nice to see you. Six. The Walnut Woodpecker. Ms. Moon Bear. Joe Mama. Morgan Freedom. Yeah, Grampy was something else again. Like I said, it wasn't entirely unexpected, but it always comes as a surprise when it actually does happen. I found an Ozark Dutch oven for $1. Some of the pits are really deep. Doubt that I could even cook cornbread. Usually the big pits aren't really the ones that'll cause you a problem. They'll usually fill in as you use it. Over time, they'll get enough buildup in there that it'll still have a dimple there. But, they're still usually fairly usable for most things. Go ahead and clean it up and give it a try. Season it. See how it goes for you. The thing that I've always had a problem is extremely fine print. Extremely fine pitting can be more of a problem. And in that case, usually all you need to do is take a little bit of sandpaper, like 50 grit, 60, something like that, fairly coarse, and just sand it lightly by hand. You don't need to go too hog wild with it. You don't really need to remove any pits. You just want to break the sharp edges, and make it so it's not so sharp and pointy. I'm the junior. Deb, I forgot to say thank you to Ms. Moonbear for the super chat. I appreciate it. It's always kind of you. Where was I here? How bad of an idea would it be to season it up real quick and use it for Halloween? Fill it with dry ice and act as a fog machine. Getting it really cold is kind of hard on cast iron. You might it's a chance you could end up cracking it. But if you set the dry ice on a piece of styrofoam for insulation, don't really chill the iron that much, but set a styrofoam container with the dry ice inside of it, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But, don't put the dry ice right directly on the iron, because iron and steel tend to crystallize when they get extremely cold, and they get really brittle. Mike Wood, nice to see you. Cynthia, I said hi to you already. Corey Clark, Loretta Comer, Kevin Collar Rocks. I'm almost caught up here, I think. Yeah, the dog wants in. Never fails. He won't make a sound until right now. But I pretty much covered, went through the stuff I was going to do really quickly. And, we'll just kind of chat for a couple of minutes, and I'll probably wrap this up in about 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so. And, like I said, my heart's really not into it tonight because of what happened to Grampy. So, what are those green bottles? Where they put them here. Those are Grolsch beer bottles. They're imported Dutch beer. And, you know, you can get them pretty much any liquor store carries them. You know, it's usually a 4-pack. They're a little more expensive in this kind of bottle than just a plain bottle of Grolsch. But, you know, the main reason I got them is because they have the, you know, fancy little stopper and the rubber gasket. A lot of home brewers use them, and you can get new gaskets for these through most brewing supply outfits. Because, like I said, a lot of home brewers use these because they're real easy to seal up. And they'll hold pressure, but I don't really need it to hold pressure with something like this. But, you know, like I said, it's just a matter of letting that cinnamon sit and steep in there. And the green bottles will help protect it from light a good bit. Would you ever consider doing a Christmas baking live on the wood stove? Yeah, I probably would. You know, that'd be a kind of a cool idea. You know the trick where you pop the cap with one finger only, Jackie Chan style? No, I don't really drink a whole lot of Grolsch, but they do open fairly easy if you just put your thumb on the side of the bale there and flip it up like that. Especially when you got a little pressure in there from beer. But they are nice for making extract and things like that. Are you aware of the new Goodwill finds? No. But I did get a couple of things off of Goodwill. They're not here yet. And I'll probably show those to you next week. There should be a show next week. You know, I'm pretty sure that my schedule works out right. You know, the week after that, I don't know exactly. But, you know, for the next week anyway, I should be on next week. So, and by then I should have those 2 things that I got from Goodwill. They're kind of interesting. And they'll give you something to look forward to. Let's see. I'll sip my Kool-Aid. I'm going to let my dog in, shut him up. Let's see. Where is my cursor? There it is. Stop my camera for a second, and I'll be right back. All right, you little annoyance. Get in here. Yeah, there's your treat now. Go lay down and shut up. Okay, settle back in here. There we go. Yeah, you wish Pabst came in a bottle like that. Well, then you wouldn't be able to get Pabst nearly as cheap, which would kind of defeat the whole purpose of being Pabst. But like I said, you can find those. You can find Grolsch in, you know, pretty much any liquor store. You know, a lot of the bigger grocery store liquor departments will carry it. It's fairly common. Found a Griswold No. 7 Iron Mountain Dutch oven with a lid at Goodwill in Berlin, PA. Oh, cool. I've seen a whole lot of Iron Mountain on the Goodwill auction site the last week or so, week and a half. You know, it's kind of weird. I mean, all of a sudden there's like 8 or 9 different Iron Mountain things on Goodwill all of a sudden. You know, it's kind of weird like that sometimes. You'll get a big run of Wapak or, you know, Iron Mountain. I mean, there's always a fair number of Griswold and Wagner's. You know, but sometimes there'll just be a surge of different things all of a sudden for no real reason. Or different kind of items like Abelskeeper pans. Sometimes you won't see them. You know, you see maybe 1 or 2 for 2 or 3 months at a time, 1 or 2 at a time. And then all of a sudden it'll be just loaded with them for a month. You know, there's no real rhyme or reason for it. Yeah, pretty soon he'll be banging his collar on the water dish. But yeah, I hope the folks down in Florida and the southeastern corner of the country are doing all right after the big storm. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute, just skip myself way back. Goodwill finds its new YouTube site or online. Wait a minute here. Try to get my. Oh, it's a new online site. Oh, that sounds kind of cool. I'll have to look for it, Raymond. What's the website, Goodwill website called? It's called shopgoodwill.com. And the way it works is they're Goodwills from all over the country, and they ship it to you from wherever their store is. But it's all, the auction site is run out of California. So the ending times on the auction are all Pacific time. And, but as you bid on different items, they get shipped to you directly from whatever Goodwill, wherever in the country they are. So you have to kind of pay attention to what it'll estimate your shipping cost for you. Their shipping and handling that they're going to charge you, and it'll estimate that for you. So when you bid on stuff, be aware of what the shipping is, because there's quite a few times and quite a few different types of items. It really isn't worth it to buy it used at Goodwill when you have to add in the shipping, and it ends up costing you more than it's really worth, or more than you can find it elsewhere. There's a lot of newer Lodge skillets on there, like a number 8 Lodge. It's maybe 5-10 years old. It's the current style. And a lot of times they'll sell, for $8, $10, $12 for the bid, but there'll be $15 shipping on it. And when you end up paying $25, even $30 for it, once you add in the shipping, it doesn't really make sense when you can go to pretty much any Walmart and get the same thing brand new for $23, $24, $25. It's really noticeable with the big Lodge walks, like the one I have, the big 14-inch walk. Brand new, those cost around $70. It's either 60 or 70, I forget which exactly. But you can get it brand new for $60 or $70. A lot of times the bid on them will go up to $45, $50. Yeah, that's cheaper than you can buy it, until you figure in it's big, it's heavy, it's going to be in a weight and size class that it's going to end up costing you anywhere from $20 to $30 to ship it. So you can easily end up spending $90 for a $60 walk. So, that's the drawback of any online business or any online auction site, is you have to calculate in your shipping along with it. Looking home brew shops for those flip top bottles and washers. Yeah, and because like I said, a lot of home brewers do use them, and they're really nice for making extracts. Just put my glasses back on. I can barely see tonight for some reason. Where do I get most of the pans and the cooking iron from? A lot of them I get from local secondhand stores, sometimes from local antique shops. I get some from online auction sites like the Goodwill site we were just talking about. eBay, there's a lot of people that sell cast iron things on eBay. You got to shop around for price on eBay especially. And, it's not really for the inexperienced. I mean, once you know what something is worth, then go on eBay. But there's quite a few different places where you can get cast iron. Thrift sales, flea markets, garage sales, estate sales. But like I said, most of my stuff I get from secondhand shops. People donate things that don't really know what they are. And, sometimes from antique shops in my area. Hello from Canada. Have you ever come across any Canadian iron? Not around here in real life. I see some every now and then on auction sites. But me and you Acres, who are living up in Canada, did send me this. That's a Smart & Company waffle iron. Well, one side of a waffle iron. So that's the only Canadian cast iron I got. But hopefully I'll be able to find some more. And you would think here in the northern part of the country, it would be easier to find. But oddly enough, most of the cast iron I see on the Goodwill auction site and on eBay is from the southern U.S. for some reason. It's strange. I don't know why all the Canadian iron ended up in the southern U.S. instead of somewhere a lot closer to the border. Everyone is laughing at you. You had your pot stand up ready to cook side in the blazing sun. Yeah. It's been fairly nice around here. We had a hard freeze last week, a couple of nights. But it's been fairly nice since, and it's going to turn colder towards the weekend again. But this time of year, it's changing over. It's usually fairly nice. But hopefully you'll be able to get a nice enough day when you can go outside and cook in your pot. Google Goodwill finds don't know the difference other than I don't think you have to bid on items. Yeah, I'll look into it. I've never really heard of it, but once I get a chance to look into it, I'll go ahead and let you know. And hope you get it in one piece. Yeah, sometimes they don't package things terribly good from the Goodwills. I've gotten a few things from them broken. They've been really good about refunding your money for it, but if it was something you were looking for, it shows up broken. Well, it doesn't really help to get your money back if what you really wanted is something that's kind of hard to find. But it's not really common, and they have been getting better at their packaging. They've probably gotten enough complaints that they realize you can't just throw a piece of cast iron in a couple of crumpled up wads of newspaper in a great big box and let it bang around inside. Oh, you're in the 90s down there. Yeah, well, you're going to be fairly warm down there for a couple of more months. Wouldn't mind a few more Indian summer days. Yeah, we haven't really gotten, much for coldness yet. I mean, it's starting to cool off, but it's been pretty warm right up until now. And it's, like I said, it's fairly, we've got a couple of cold days, a couple of cold nights last week, and it warmed up. And it's going to cool off again. But the leaves are really starting to turn now after that freeze. So we're in the fall, which means I'll be busy doing all the things I've been putting off over the summer before we get too much too cold. Found a piece, I think it's Canadian, has a diamond logo with a T inside the logo. It could be a Chicago hardware foundry. A lot of those had a diamond and a number is usually what you see, but there were some that had a diamond and a letter. I've seen A and G. I don't know posit for sure if it was a T, but more likely it's a Chicago hardware foundry. They're mostly known for their hammered pieces, but they did make smooth finished cast iron, and those usually had the diamond logo with a number or a letter in it. So that's probably what it is. And they were made in Chicago at first, and they eventually, in around 1930 or so, they bought out the favorite favorite Pico ware. They bought out their patterns and their machinery, and they started making some that were marked favorite Chicago hardware foundry, kind of multi-marked stuff. which is kind of cool. But more likely, it's not Canadian. It's favorite Chicago hardware foundry, and they went out of business about 1936, 37. So it's pretty old at any rate. If you find a crack in Goodwill iron, will you send it back? Usually they have a disclaimer on it, that you should go by what the pictures are, but a lot of times the pictures aren't all that great. If something's obviously cracked, they're pretty good about pointing it out, saying yes, it has a crack, or taking a picture specifically showing you the crack. So they've been pretty good about taking things back. But if they didn't mention a crack and it showed up and it was obviously cracked, you might have to argue with a little bit. But I've always had, done pretty good with their customer service. But would I send it back? I mean, it kind of depends on what it is. If it was something that was hard to find, even cracked, I would probably keep it, especially if I bought it knowing it was cracked. But if it was something, fairly common and it showed up cracked or broken, I would get a hold of them. And usually they'll just refund you, and they won't bother having you ship it back and forth. So Diamond T is the Eaton company. Could be. I mean, I haven't seen a T. I've seen A and G, or not a Diamond G like that. But I have seen letters on Chicago Hardware Foundry, but Diamond T is the T Eaton. Okay. That makes sense too. And was Eaton Canadian? It was a huge, scroll down a little bit more and you tell it's a huge housewares brand. Okay. Quite old too if it's just Diamond T. All right. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell just by the description, but the Diamond G, someone said, well, they have something that has a Diamond G logo on it. I would probably guess it was Chicago Hardware because I have seen that. But usually Chicago Hardware, the diamond is more vertical rather than horizontal like that. So the G would be facing the other way. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up here pretty much and, call it a night. Hopefully be a little bit more enthusiastic next week. I should be on next Tuesday at the same time, so that'll be good. And, to everybody out there who knew Grampy, it's sad to see him go. But like I said, it wasn't, we've known for a while now that it was going to happen. So hopefully you all don't get too upset about it, but, go ahead and grieve for our loss. Anyway, I'm going to see you guys next week. And thank you much for watching, and I appreciate seeing you. Night.